Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on the second hour of the Daily Brief. And as I mentioned earlier, we will be joining a guest just to give us more details on the female genital mutilation. We do know that Kenya joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day of Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation on Saturday, and calls were intensified on the need for civic education just to create awareness on the dangers of the practice both in urban and rural areas. And this afternoon we speak to Pacifica Lucy Ongecha, who is the coordinator for the GBV, or the GBV, Kiambu County, Groots Kenya, just to give us more details on this. Thank you, Pacifica, for your time this afternoon. All right, and you are from the Groots Kenya. Probably we can start by what is Groots Kenya and what do you do?
Thank you so much for having me here. Groots Kenya is an acronym that stands for grassroots organization operating together in sisterhood. At Groots Kenya, we build the capacity of grassroots women so that they can fight for their space, they can fight and lobby for development agenda in our communities. So once our capacity is built, we have the space to fight for everything that is rightfully ours in our communities. So basically that is what we do. Yes. And
probably you could also tell us why there was the need to start Groots Kenya in the first place.
Groots Kenya in itself, as I said, is a grassroots organization. Groots Kenya started when one of us went to the Beijing meeting in China. She realized that there was so much being talked about the grassroots people, but there was no representation from the grassroots. So when she came back to the country, she felt the need to have the movement so that the grassroots women can have the space to speak for themselves and fight for their space. So that is how Groots Kenya started. And in itself is a movement of grassroots women groups from the villages to the ward, to the sub-county, and to the county. Yes.
And probably just to get more on the Groots Kenya for those watching to understand, probably how present are you in the different counties? Do you have a direct presence in most of the counties in Kenya?
Presently, we are working in about 20 counties. Kiambu, where I come from, being one of the counties where we work.
Okay.
And we have, like I said, we have women because we deal with grassroots women. We have women from the villages going up. We organize the women from the villages into the wards, into the sub-county, and into the counties. And we have, of course, we have our coordinators who keep coordinating this work. They coordinate from the village to the ward up to the county. But we have our secretariat at Nairobi Westlands, where our offices are based, and mostly the secretariat's work is to do the logistics for us, look for funds, so that they are able to facilitate the work we are doing at our grassroots level. Yes.
And Pacifica, we would not go without talking about why this day is important. Yeah, we do know that it was celebrated on Saturday. That's the International Day for Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. Why is the day so important for the girls and women?
This day is very important because basically, before I speak about this day, I would want to say that gender-based violence has become a menace in this country. And part of what is involved in gender-based violence is female genital mutilation, where we find our girls and women being undertaking this cut without, it is not right. It is a practice that we feel so desperate as women.
Yeah.
So it has come up that most of our girls and our women are not able to go to school. They are not able, their dignity is lowered by undertaking the cut. We had a scenario of one of our women in Kiambu undergoing the cut, and then the man, the husband, who took her for the cut no longer was interested in her. So her dignity is gone, and this man no longer wants her by his side. So this day is important because we really need to speak out and fight for the women. We will not allow female genital mutilation to go on in this country, and globally anyway. Yes, so we need to speak out, we need to fight together, we need to put our efforts together and fight it wholesomely. Yes.
Yeah, you did say that, you know, this is something that has affected women and girls immensely in, not just in Kenya, but even globally.
Sure.
And probably would we say that education is the main impediment of, you know, most women and girls not rising up and saying that, you know, this is my right, this is my choice, and, you know, I have a right to live my life the way I want?
Of course, I would say most of our women are not aware of the laws that govern a lot of FGM and, of course, even gender-based violence.
Yeah.
So you realize most of them are going through a lot of torture, a lot of violation, and they are not able to speak out because they don't know the laws that govern. Of course, as an organization, we are creating a lot of awareness, a lot of sensitization, so that the women and girls are aware that there is a law that governs them and they have to speak out. We have to report these issues and follow up to ensure that justice prevails. Yes.
And just going back to Kiambu County,
Yes.
where you are the coordinator, we do understand that gender-based violence and rape cases in Kiambu County are on a certain level, and of course they have risen at alarming levels. Data that was compiled from the national hotline, that is 1195, showed that Kiambu County has the third largest rates of after Nairobi and Kisumu County. And probably now the question would be, how far has your efforts, you know, to end the vice, where are they at the moment?
Of course, as a coordinator of GBV, it has been hectic for us because at one point, for me, I have been responding to GBV for quite some time now. But at one time, I used to do it haphazardly without knowing the protocols that I need to undertake. But Groots Kenya comes in, takes it up for us, and empowers us to give us a capacity so that we know when we get these cases, what is it that we need to do? And most recently, we have Mastercard Foundation, which has funded the GBV program at Groots Kenya. And we are celebrating because now we have a better platform. When we undertake the rescue, our women, we rescue the women, we report these cases because we are working in collaboration with the administration within our community. We are reporting these cases to the administration. They are taking up the cases. And we have, in this GBV program that has been funded by Mastercard, we have rescue centers, shelter houses, where we can place our women as we follow up the cases, because most of the time, the women fear to report the cases because they feel, when I report the case, where will I go? We have shelter houses where we keep the women as we pursue their cases, so we are sure they are safe. In this GBV program, we also have a component of counseling, because most of the time, our women go through trauma. So we need a lot of counseling. We are doing the counseling for them, and they are recovering quite well, because you realize after some time they are able to take up their life and move on. We have a component of an advocate, because most of the time, again, the women are not able to follow up these cases because they don't know which way to go. They go to the police, and sometimes they are taken round and round. We have a lawyer who has been engaged purposely so that she advises, she gives legal advice to our women. So they are better placed to pursue these cases so that at least justice prevails. More so, when anybody goes through violation, most of the time you realize any investment she has had is scattered all over. So in this program, again, we have a component of some grant for the very desperate cases, and also a component of some loan, a loan that has very little interest, that will be given to these women so that they can pick up the broken pieces and move on. So we are saying it is doing so well. We are doing so far. Most of our women are getting back on track. After going through the violation and feeling like they are desperate, we get there, pick up, and restore their dignity. So as an organization, we would say we have some very positive impact, and we are looking forward to going on. We are striving on. We cannot say it's over, because we are still hearing a lot of violation, a lot of killings, a lot of crazy things happening in our country. Yes.
And Pacifica, we must say that the youth are most affected. Probably because most of the youth probably growing up in some of the regions where this vice continues to be practiced live with their elder ones. Probably a grandmother who says, you know, this is the right way to go. This is a rite of passage from girlhood to womanhood. And these are just some of the social beliefs and cultures that some communities embrace. So how are you and you as the organization now trying to put the line between assisting them to have their own rights and at the same time them saying that, you know, they have to follow the rite of passage?
What we are doing as an organization, like I say, most of the time in Groots Kenya, we work in partnership with all the stakeholders that fall in line with what we are doing. So presently, we are creating awareness, a lot of awareness in collaboration with the administration on FGM vice. We are working together, going into the villages to create that awareness. And I will surprise you, it's not about just the elderly. The case we have at hand in Juja, it was the husband. This lady was already married. So there is nowhere the grandmother comes in to tell her that, I mean, she needs to go through this. This is a man who has married this lady. And then he tells her, yes, for you to be with me, for you to remain my wife, then you have to go through this rite of passage. So it is about just the thinking, the perspective of the community.
Yeah.
But then we need to put efforts together. We are trying our level best as an organization, but we cannot do it alone. So we are putting a call on everybody else, all the other stakeholders. Let us come together in Kiambu, where I come from, and all over the country. Let us come together and fight this vice together. But of course, we appreciate the little effort. There is some effort the government has put in place, but we need to put in more effort.
Okay.
Yes.
They need to put more effort.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And probably just to get back to what you said earlier, that some of the women and girls, you know, when they undergo the cut, they really don't have the courage to go to a police station probably and report this due to stigma and discrimination. And some time back, the government was in a quest to come up with a, you know, a desk where, a gender desk where, you know, ladies and, I mean, women and girls can come out and report to police stations probably on what has happened to them. And of course, you did say that the government is trying, but of course, we would also like to know where exactly the government has reached in relation to that. But of course, just to mention once again, there are different groups that have come out, you know, just to trying to accelerate the elimination of the elimination of this vice that is being practiced in most parts of the region. And just going back to that question of where has the government reached in terms of putting up a desk at police stations where women and girls can come out, report that this happened to me and it was not my choice, and probably what measures would the police take in regard to that?
Of course, I will appreciate that when we started the GBV program, like I said, we called stakeholders. One of the stakeholders we brought on board was the police. Yeah. Because most of the time you realize when there are gender-based violence issues, FGM being one of them, not so many people would come up and report because they will say, we go to the police and we are humiliated, we are intimidated. But for us, we believe in bringing them on board. So we brought them on board and we shared what we would want to do together. Yeah. And of course, they confirmed that they have the gender desks within their police station, which as champions, we have confirmed. We've been to the police stations to confirm the vice. And indeed, there are gender desks where any woman, because if you go to a police station for a woman, and maybe you find a man, you may not be freely able to share what you've gone through. So we have gender desks, which most of them have women. So you're able to share. We can confirm so far that is done. But again, as champions, because there are women who have that fear, naturally, they cannot want to meet with police. So as champions, we accompany them to police stations to ensure that this is reported, and we follow up to ensure that justice prevails. These cases are taken to court. We follow up. That is something we've taken up on us, so that they don't give up along the way. Because they would easily give up and say, no, I don't want to follow this up. So because for us, we want real outcome, results, that we can say, yes, we did it. So we follow up with them, go to the police stations with them, take them to hospitals for checkups. We do all that process. Yes. And
probably finally, how has the community then responded to your model to end the GBV in the country?
The community is responding well. They are so excited. They're so happy. Because the other day we had a meeting of survivors.
Yeah.
Just to get to understand what is it they've gone through, and so far, how do they feel? Most of them are healing, because we had the meeting like 3 weeks ago. Most of them are healing.
Yeah.
We had a meeting, of course, in Kiambu. And last week, we had the same meetings in Kakamega, where we are doing the same program. So many of them are healing so well. So we would say that at least the interventions the champions of Groots Kenya put in place are working so well. And we are moving on. We will still move on because violence is still high.
Yes.
We would not say we are done with it. So we'll still have to continue fighting, holding their hands to ensure that they get justice, because most of the cases we have already are still pending in court. Yes.
And during the COVID-19 pandemic, we still have it, and most of these cases are meant to escalate. Probably, what would be your message to those young girls and women in those areas where the vice is still being practiced? That is coming from the Groots Kenya.
Of course, during COVID, violence went so high.
Yeah.
So what we are saying, anytime, and then the worst scenario was that some of these people were being violated at night. We had the curfew.
Yes.
So nobody is able to get out and go to report. So we gave our numbers, our contacts, because for us, we have access to police. So anytime anybody is going through any violation, like now you come to Limuru, Kiambu County, we have given contacts of all the champions. That are responders. We call them responders, of course. We have given contacts of our responders. You can call them anytime. They will respond, they will rescue you, they will place you in a safe place, and then we pursue the cases. So we are saying, speak out, don't keep quiet, because once you keep quiet, we will not know what you're going through.
True.
We are at your service. We will always be there to come up and rescue you from the situation you're going through.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as you go on with your efforts to end this vice, probably during this COVID-19, have you had any difficulties or challenges in your efforts to end the vice?
Of course, we've had challenges, because sometimes, like we say, somebody is going through that.
Yeah. And
sometimes maybe you need to rescue. You're calling some of the vehicles you would need, a vehicle, maybe somewhere you're going to rescue far away. And most of the time you realize they're not willing to come, because they're imagining that because of the curfew, they will find themselves in a fix. We have also had the issue of the hospitals. The hospitals have gone on strike. And most of these violations need some medication so that you obtain a P3.
Yeah.
We have had a big challenge, because this P3 is mostly obtained from government hospitals. They've been on strike. So we have had to delay to follow up these cases. Yeah. And sometimes medical attention is taking too long.
Yeah.
So those are the major challenges we faced. But of course, the police have been working. We've been working hand in hand. We will not have shortcomings here and there with them. But the good thing is that anytime we take it forth, maybe with the senior police, they're willing to come up and join hands and help us fight the vice.
And just now, owing to the challenges when most people are at home, we have the curfew measures and all that. Is there probably a hotline number where someone can just call directly to you?
Of course, like I said, we've given our own numbers.
Yeah. Because
my number, like for instance, my number is always on. All the responders in the various counties we are working in, or their numbers are always on, and we have distributed the catalogs with our numbers and what we do. So anytime we have talked to the administration, the chiefs, the DC, the police, all of them, the OCPDs, the OCSS, they know, and they have our contacts. So anytime there's anything, we have passed word round even to the villages, because we will act faster, because they're talking to an individual that is within their region. Yes.
And Pacifica, just as we close the show this afternoon, probably what would be your last words in regard to ending FGM in Kenya? Because, for example, in Sudan in July 2020, last year, the country made this FGM illegal, and anyone who is found or who is subject to this will be jailed for about 3 years in prison. Have we, or do we expect for Kenya to go that way, or at least borrow a leaf from countries like Sudan?
What I'm saying, I would say that our government needs to put firm measures, like you mentioned. We need to come up with the firmer measures, because, of course, we've been talking about it. The government has been talking about it. non-state actors have been talking about it, but nothing so much. We will not say we've achieved so much, because it is still going on. So we need the government to put more firm measures so that our girls and our women can have their dignity as they would wish. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Pacifica Lucy Ongecha. You have 3 names.
Yes,
Thank you so much for your time. She is the coordinator of the gender-based violence in Kiambu County, that is Groots Kenya. Thank you so much for your time and your much information in regard to matters FGM in the country. We do understand that it is, of course, a vice or a factor that needs to be looked into. Thank you so much for your time. Well, that's it for K24 Daily Brief at this hour. Thank you so much for your time. We still have much more coming up at exactly 1 p.m. on K24 Newscast. Stay with us.